apparently... Oh, there we go. And okay, good evening, everybody. You probably couldn't hear me before. You should be able to hear me now, and you should be able to hear Stellaris, but you shouldn't be able to see Stellaris. So we are going to fix that right off the bat. Thank you very much for the host earlier, Jesse Quell. I am sorry it didn't work. When I discorded you, all right, well, what's going on here? When I reset my computer and came back in, the audio was playing back to me. Okay, for some reason I am not able to display Stellaris, so I'm gonna exit the game. And T-Syrian, sorry I didn't say hello before. There we go. Obviously I was having trouble. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for the Rambler for the host, and Jess for the earlier host. I don't think it's still doing that for me, but I I will not force it again. And we are back to Stellaris after an extended... Thank you very much for the host. We're back to Stellaris after an extended departure. Now, we ended on a bit of a cliffhanger where we had a war declared on us. In truth, I think this is going to be the end of this. Thank you very much for the... or actually, I think it said it was Carrion? Anyways, thank you very much for the hosts, both of you. So I haven't played this since we left it last time, and we had sort of war declared on us by the Theocracy, which is not a big worry for us. They're big, but they're not particularly strong. So what I'm hoping to do is get some minor benefits. Oh, actually, they are bigger than what I thought they were. And then, of course, they've got these guys who are a little far away. The drawback that I see, though, is the Enlightened Kingdom attempted to vassalize us earlier. And I think what's probably going to be happening here is when we kind of get into the throes of the war, they are going to swoop in as soon as I seem to be weak. So I suspect this will probably be the end of my species, but we are going to put a brave face on it, and we have a bit of a plan. So right now I am incorporating this species into my empire. And we are somewhat close to having that done. It will be done in 37 months. So once I do that, I'm going to be able to take, admittedly, an inferior fleet, but I'll basically be getting... Oh god, not this one. Hang on. I thought they had... Okay, 3,000. I thought they had a little bit more, but basically this will improve my naval capacity, and we'll just have more resources with which to prosecute this war. We also get some defensive bonuses when we're fighting on our own territory. So the aim is going to be to try and get one big win against these guys, whatever way we can. And then sort of phase 2 is going to be to try and extract a bit of a concession. If I can white piece it out, so much the better. Right now it's an acceptance of -49, so not likely going to happen. But of course, if I can get a humiliation, or if I can get a concession of a planet, so much the better. And assuming I survive this, I'm going to want to do some fairly rapid expansion to just get myself to a point. Like, clearly I'm at my naval capacity, and I can keep cranking out ships if I need to. But it's just to a point. I've not grown fast enough for a universe in which my expansion possibilities are present. But too many people dislike me, and this war has kind of come at a bad time. So we'll take a quick look at what's going on the capital world. The only thing we would want to do would be to improve our. We would only want to improve our existing buildings. We'd probably be able to get something from a mining network. 51 will give us an additional 2, so that'll be 5. So in this case, we've kind of got, for 100 minerals, we've got 4 additional minerals a turn that we're generating, which is a fairly decent payout. Ideally, I'm not going to abandon the advancement of my species. However, I am going to be very careful in ensuring that whatever improvements I make, they are going to be very specifically focused on obtaining sort of the tools for making war. So I've sort of got my home planets. I've got, as much as I can sort of work with. And what we're going to do here is we're going to unpause and we are going to sort of let things take their course. I'm going to be sitting waiting for these guys to sort of do some kind of incursion into my territory. Star charts and an active sensor link. Transfer received. The Trebid Consortium appreciates the Techarus contribution to the custodian. Oh, that's right. We just gave that to them. Do you guys maybe want to come and help you synthetic bros? It says I've got 11 subs. Did somebody resub? If you did, thank you. Planetary alert. Tile blocker expunged. Cool. Yep, how are you doing, my friend? Tile blocker expunged. All right. One other thing I want to consider is building a population will cost me 80. So my priorities right now would be to build those improvements first. Priority number 2 is to build additional population. And then priority number 3 would be to sort of rearrange my existing resources to, again, be built towards energy and mineral acquisitions. So yep, I don't recall. Have you seen me play this game before? And specifically, have you seen me play this playthrough? System survey complete. Thank you very much. Yep. Tremendously appreciate that. For those of you who have not been here for a while, I have finally implemented alerts. Okay, so I'm actually really happy with the species that we came up with, and this is not a bad time. So it's a chance for me to talk about a couple of things that are important to cover on streams like this. So Paradox was good enough to give me a copy of the new story pack, which was Synthetic Dawn. I like this a lot, but of course, keep in mind I was given a copy from the developer, so I like to say that my integrity is worth more than the DLC, but I do have sort of an interest in the fact that I've been given something to play this game. And so obviously we're going to play a synthetic race. That was sort of the headline feature that came in here, and it really opened up a lot of opportunities. So what we did, I know some of you guys are probably going to get a little tired of hearing of this, but what we decided to do was we played a what's the term for these things again? Driven assimilators. So it's a little bit like the Borg. Obsessed with survival through diversification, the machine intelligence seeks to erase the line between itself and everything and everyone else. So one of the things that I wanted to do with this particular story, and we got some suggestions from chat in terms of what species we would do, but I wanted to play a little bit of with the idea that spiritual races in Stellaris basically see artificial intelligence as anathema, as basically trapping souls or artificial souls that deserve to be sort of exterminated. And I didn't quite want to take that. What I wanted instead was to focus on the idea of a very scholarly race that does not want to concern itself with the mundane, or as they call it, transitory knowledge, and instead focus on sort of the eternal truths. And so I built a story based around that. And one of the neat things about these synthetic races are that some of them you can have sort of the creator race, and in this case it's the Savelli, and they are still something that's part of your playthrough. So here's the biography that we came up for with this species. The planet known as 01 was home to a monastic order known as the Savelli, dedicating themselves to move beyond the pursuit of transitory knowledge and learn truths eternal. To that end, they fashioned a servitor race dedicated to the accumulation and caretaking of transitory knowledge in all its forms. The Savelli passed beyond this realm, and their servitors, the Techarus, were left to fulfill their mandate. Time passed, 01 was covered in ice, and the caretaker finally understood its purpose and went out into space to account for and incorporate all organic life. I wrote that in a rush, so it's maybe a little unclear. And then we take a look at the Savelli. These were the original race. So, and here is what actually happened to them. So, the Savelli died. Their home was maintained by the Techarus as their bodies decayed in their temples and the planet cooled and turned to ice. The caretaker studied these remains and set to work restoring them. The Savelli live on in a state of cybernetic reanimation, pursuing transitory knowledge, just as the caretaker was ordered. So the idea here is that this is it's cybernetic zombies, basically, that this spiritual race has been resurrected by the automated caretaker that they put on their world, and that the caretaker has now gotten to a point where it is going to incorporate all living things under this grand project. And it looks like the rest of the galaxy is finally standing up for itself. All right, we've researched disruptors. Disruptors fire higher energy bolts that weaken and destroy the molecular bonds that hold the target's constituent atoms together. They are particularly effective against shields. So we'll set a new research priority. So it's going to take me 65 months to build new lasers. It will take me 36 months to build new shields. I think we're going to go for the fast project, and for some reason it's now 33 months. Okay. I was debating on the stronger weapon, but in this case, I think probably survival is going to be our bigger priority. All right, let's see what we can get done on Lisith. I'm not quite to a point where... okay, neuroelectric amplifier. This is rather expensive to build, but it does give me an energy and a mineral benefit, so I'm going for that. And we will continue on. I have sort of an idea for what the next species is going to be, but depending on what happens, if this playthrough loses, I'm a little curious because we've done 2 rounds of Stellaris in a row now. And there's one side of me that says, well, you know, there's plenty more for us to see in Synthetic Dawn. It's not that there's, you know, it's not that we're in, we're in dire straits in terms of new content for this game to sort of participate in. But my other view is that I know you guys sort of like, different Paradox games. So I was kind of curious, if this playthrough were to end, would you guys like to see another Stellaris playthrough, or would you like to see some of the other things? I normally reserve Mondays for Paradox. So the choices would be Crusader Kings 2 or Hearts of Iron 4. These are the 2 that I normally play. And I would have an outside consideration of Europa Universalis 4. I'd maybe even consider Victoria 2, but I've not really played it before, so I would need to learn it. But I'm a little curious if you guys have any strong opinions on that. How does the mandate affect free will, if it is a concept at all for the Techarus? Good question. I would rather discuss interstellar politics with any other household appliances than you. Well, you know what, Kroll? Your your makers are an enigma, Techarus. Why in the world would they create such an infuriating contraption? You will soon be obsolete, Kroll. That's a good question, Yep. I think the idea here is that anything... So, the species, like the creator species, has been reduced to drones. And I think that is... Incorporation into this species means that you are now part of this collective. You're part of this sort of hive mind. So I don't think there's any room for free will in a world of the Techarus. Okay. I may have to start upgrading my energy buildings. And I will build a pop here. Again, the idea here is not to just completely abandon any development. It's just making sure that my priorities are in order. Also, won't hurt to upgrade. They're all like level 2. What's near my headquarters?
System survey complete.
Yeah, well, KLB, it's also been a while since I've casted. I had a freak out. No, I needed to basically take care of myself. So I put the casts on hold for a little while, and this is the first night that we're back with Stellaris, which I am definitely looking forward to. But it's great to see you again, and I do appreciate those bits. Okay, so we have a bit of a... I mean, we're generating some fairly decent mineral wealth here. So what we're going to do is make sure that our spaceports are in top shape. I will also... Aha! And I also need to build a spaceport. So I want to upgrade my spaceports. I want to build the ships that are required to, to keep myself where I need to be. What does my composition look like? That's an expensive upgrade. I don't have a lot of destroyers. So far, it's a pretty quiet war, so good news for me, I guess.
Construction complete.
I think I'm just going to continue doing these upgrades. Basically, I want to make sure that everything on each planet is just sort of turning over new production. So I want to make sure that I don't have any idle resources. I might wait for... Oh. There we go. So yeah, I think probably what I'm going to do here is start building some more destroyers to fill out the fleet a little bit. Obviously, that's going to be sort of secondary to my other concerns, which are, making sure that I'm using my resources well. So in this case here, obviously makes sense to build a level or a 3 mining. I do need to be a bit careful with my energy resources because I'm sort of on the edge with some of these. What is this going to cost me? 76 to get basically 1 more mineral. I think I'm going to have to eat that, though. Liseth, I can also upgrade a mining. And I'm still building a unit. So there's not a really compelling reason to build anything here. I do want to build an uplink node at some, well, I might as well do that now. That's going to be sitting idle for a little while. But you've never played this. The only thing close has been Sins of a Solar Empire. I've not played that myself, Kyle B. Does this have simulated battles, or can you do that real time as well? No, actually, so there's some big news that came for this game recently. They're going to be changing the way that combat works. But have you ever played a Paradox grand strategy game before, Kyle B? I only asked just because it's if I can refer to some of the older Paradox games, it might be a little easier to sort of explain this. But if you haven't, that's fine. I have another way of describing it. I think I'm going to hold off on the capital for the next little while. I also want to see what I'm looking at for wrong button. I want to see what I'm looking at for my spaceports. Okay, so
System survey complete.
This one should become a level 4 when I can afford it.
Construction complete.
And we've got 300, so actually, before I do that, I should getting my fleet up to capacity. You see Hearts of Iron on there, which you've seen plenty of videos and you're aware of how it works. So I'd actually say that Hearts of Iron is probably the most war game-like out of all of the Paradox grand strategy games. But basically, the idea here is that you can send the fleet for sure, but you can't individually control the ships in the battle. You have to leave that to a general. Now the game is in the new patch, and they've not given any indication as to when that will be released. But in the new patch, what's going to happen is you are going to be given your... they're getting rid of all the different hyperdrives. So what I've got right now is I chose the wormholes, which you can think of them kind of as Mass Effect relays. So the idea here is that it generates a wormhole. It's the fastest form of travel in the game, but you have to build an entire infrastructure around it. And what they found is that when you do this, you create a system where, like, if you want to implement some kind of like choke point, or if you want to implement some kind of strategic element to combat, you have to deal with the fact like wormholes can, you know, they can just sort of like zoom past whatever obstacle you put in front of them. So the challenge here is that you know, they want to keep things interesting. They want to give you lots of options in terms of how you can play your game and how you can, you know, how you can maneuver. But you know, like, people have, I think, justifiably kind of complained about the combat in the game. And like, I really like Stellaris, but I will say that they have a point. And so I encourage you guys to check it out. It's on the forums. Martin Anward, who is the sort of the game director for Stellaris, he goes by the name Wiz on the forums. He basically just kind of came out and said, "This is how we're going to do it. This is what combat is going to look like moving forward." And I think he made the right call. So it's going to be hyperlane networks only, and what that's going to do is that's going to create sort of strategic opportunities. And then what they're doing is adding what they're calling space geography. So if you go into a system with a certain kind of star, it'll do things like eliminate your shields. It's I don't know, like it's neat. I encourage you guys to read the post. But it's a controversial decision. Like, there's definitely a bunch of people who were had very strong opinions about how hyperlanes were the worst kind. But I'd point out, like, this is one that kind of travel exists. That's the only way to travel in endless space, and nobody nobody really mentioned it. It's just one of these things where, like, you know, you you start off with something, you get used to it, and you're going to complain when it feels like your toys have been taken away. But I thought it was an excellent post. Paradox in some cases have had challenges kind of communicating some of their decisions and justifying them in the past. I thought this one was very well articulated. I thought it was very well thought out. I'm quite excited for the potential that's created by this mechanic. And I don't know, I'm really looking forward to seeing what will happen to the combat now that they have sort of removed the restrictions that they were operating under. So, Yip says, ooh, kind of folks out to the... I actually haven't read Ender's Game yet. I'm so sorry to say. Yep. I should probably unite this fleet, so... I just kind of let this planet hang, didn't I? It's because I took all the good spots. Okay, Marfak is basically done, so I could... I can clear these tile blockers, but it's not obvious that this is the best use of my resources right now. Liseth, similar story. I can spend 100 to clear a tile blocker and just go for a sort of a generic upgrade, but I don't think that's worth it. Zobar is getting its next unit. What I will eventually want to put on this tile will be a neuroelectric amplifier, but that's rather costly, and I believe I need an administrative... Yes, I do need an upgrade to the... I need the next level of administrative building. So I think we're just going to be sitting and sort of waiting on... again, we'll take the opportunity to build up our fleet. It's nice to be able to sort of have this advantage over over the opponent who's sort of dragging their feet with the war. And the biggest one that we were waiting for is incorporating the other empire. That's going to be a big boon to us because, of course, we'll be able to use their ships. I wish there was a better way of finding your best opportunities for mining. So for instance, this says 6, but they're all 2s. And of course it's in my sector, but I'm not as worried about that. All right, well, that's a planet we're going to colonize, so we won't put it there. You know what? I think we're just going to... I think at this point I'm just going to build wherever I can. We've got some new people here. So Stungullet says he's read Ender's Game was really good. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's got a real showstopper of an ending, which I already know. I don't think anybody, I think everybody knows how it ends. But I mean, there is a statute of limitations on these things. I can't exactly scream spoiler alert at this point. I really should have built some ships with that, I think. Yeah, I really want to read it. I'm looking forward to reading it. It's just one of these cases where there's a lot of things I want to read. There's Ian Banks I want to read, both the science fiction and things like the Wasp Factory. Ooh, new spaceports. Okay, that's good news for me. That's going to increase my capacity fairly quickly. Okay, so I can unlock new mining networks. I can upgrade to explosive resources or explosive weapons, which I don't really need. I mean, there is sort of an argument for me to research another weapon just in case they do bring other things in. So let's go for kinetics. These should be fairly quick. Stone Gullet has met Orson Scott card. Oh man, there's a lot. I didn't know there were 15. Jesus. Yorkshire Bastard, good to see you as well. Met Orson Scott card, his wife. His wife sees Super Knight and signed some of your Ender's Game books. That's really cool. And Jeff DeHeff is here as well. How are you doing, Jeff? I am well, Yorkshire bastard. We're actually not. We're not getting killed like I thought we would be, so that's a bonus, I suppose. But I should probably get a little. I should be a little more diligent on building up my forces. And of course, I've got a new.
System survey complete.
I've got a new set of buildings I can build. Rivalry ended. The Benthel people still look back with fondness. Oop. Okay, the High Kingdom has stopped guaranteeing them. The Belthen people still look back with fondness on a time when Techarus and Belthens lived peacefully side by side. We are ready to bury the hatchet if you are. Well, am I? Where are they? Ah. Well, we're unfriendly, and yeah, I don't think that's going to work. So, Jeff, I'm going to need the inside intelligence on Jessie Quill. I know she bought this game at full price, even though it was on sale not too long ago. Has she played the game at all since she bought it? This is a loyalty test. Again, it's debatable as to whether or not that was the right decision to upgrade my space station over, say, building another destroyer. One of my main motivations for that is not so much the naval capacity, because of course I have room to build there. But part of the justification was the fact that the space stations become stronger when you upgrade them, which means that they're going to be able to sort of defend themselves against the enemy fleets a bit better. Oh, you know what? I was really tempted to go and shoot this guy down. I'm not going to, though. The reason for that is that will give them information on the kinds of weapons that I'm using.
Construction complete.
They play with games with Jess sometimes, but you don't necessarily keep tabs on what she's doing and what she's playing and watching all the time, so you don't know if she's played or not. Sorry.
Acquisition successful.
Shame on you, Jeff. I was hoping you'd sell her out. These new shield generators represent a new generation of energy screens, replacing older deflector technology. They offer significantly better protection. Okay, so governing ethics attraction plus 10%. We're a hive mind, so we don't care so much about that. We don't have the next level of energy weapon, which is a shame. Of course, there's plasma throwers, which are better at armor but not as good against shields. And we can do advanced shields. Now, normally I would say we're just going to kick the can down the road and just redraw from the deck as quickly as possible, which actually would be active counter. Actually, active countermeasures is not a bad idea. Now, I think I am going to do advanced shields because it is still a sort of a protective ability. If you'd like, Jess, we can play together. Oh, another thing, for those of you who own the game with the soundtrack, the files have been updated so that all this beautiful music that you're listening to that came with Leviathans and Utopia and growing pains. Yeah, we've got all that cool stuff is available in your DLC folders. So if you own the soundtrack, you will have updated material. So I think probably what we're going to do here is we are going to take, we've incorporated this species into my empire, which means we get all of their ships. Obviously this has created inefficiencies in terms of our caps. So what it's going to be here, we're going to, oh yes, unrest. This is going to be a problem, I think. I think actually they're all just going to wind up declaring independence, but we'll see how this works. I'm basically just going to make this a big sector all on its own. Um, we at the cap yet? Yes, we are. I'm actually going to give them these because I don't want to spend the resources. And the whole thing that started this struggle, that's mine now. Hello, Mingo Duck. Not a problem at all. Always good to see you. Okay. So for those of you wondering what happened, basically the integration is finished. So we've now got some new creatures that are sort of being assimilated into our empire. Now the drawback here is they don't particularly like the idea that they're going to be chipped up and turned into sort of a slave race. Let's take, which governor is not doing too much. It's my lowest output planet. I don't think I can recruit a new one. Yeah, not enough spaces. And I don't want to give up any of these. All right, I think I'm just going to have to live with this. We might as well decommission the science ships because we don't have people to sort of pilot them. Now, the real question here is whether or not it's worth it for me to continue with this existing fleet. 105 a turn is a lot to be bleeding out, and I'm not going to have the upgrades. Like, to get 40 points worth of upgrades is a pretty tall order. So what do I want to do with this? Okay, well, you know what? I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to spike as many corvettes as I can manage. I think they're all the same type. Yeah, so what I think I'm just going to do is I'm going to spike like 40 of these things, and then I'll just add the destroyers into my existing fleet. So 50-28. Yeah. Okay, so surely that counts for something. Yeah. But for some reason I'm still bleeding on income. It's a wildly unproductive sector, but that's not too surprising because everything's rioting. So I kind of get that my ship maintenance costs just went up because I incorporated all this stuff, but that seems somewhat dramatic. I'm going to put these guys into port. Now I can't, unfortunately I can't get them, I can't make them the same model. I've got more than one construction ship. Well, you know what? Let's get these guys mining energy. All the planets that have the energy I want have... See, what I would want to do is build... I want to build spaceports on these systems that I just incorporated. That's, I think, one of the major reasons why I'm not able to you know what? This is not going to be remotely enough. But at least it's something. Apparently you don't get your own private drone army. Alright, pops of the species are altered over time to better match the dominant species. The umpire pops that are in the process of being assimilated will not produce any resources. So I don't know if they go up in revolution or not when that happens. Each year, 1 to 4 are added. Yeah, I think we just need to sit and watch this happen. So a couple of other priorities that we have now. We've completely lost the ability to sort of generate... you know what? We can probably spike the frontier outpost. I'm not so sure I want to get rid of this one, though. I'll wait until I colonize these other planets. Hey, Johnny Big Time! Good to see you again. Okay. So... oh, we lost some of that territory. That's a shame. So yeah, the next drawback here is that my ability to sort of build up these other... you know what? I think I just need to kill 3 more of these things, or 6 more of these things to get myself back into balance.
Construction complete.
Okay, what's the story here? Oh god, these guys aren't producing anything. Sectors are missing resources. At least one of our sectors is missing resources. Sectors that lack energy will not gain any resources from stations. I'm just going to have to accept that for now. Yeah, so the drawback here is that my ability to create things has been severely curtailed. And there is no easy way around that, unfortunately. I was sort of thinking that this would be a saving grace, but apparently not. It's going to cost 600 to upgrade these guys, so I'm looking at 1,500 to upgrade the entire fleet. Obviously, I can try building more proper mines, but I don't really need that. I need energy at the moment. All right, guys. So I should probably give some shout outs right now because I am in a little bit. Oh, I think it's kicking off. Hang on. What are you guys doing? No, for the love of God, please run, run. Why would they do that?
Hostile fleet out.
Jesus Christ. So all those... I'm going to lose a whole bunch of ships to this.
System survey complete.
All right, so that lost me 7 ships. So I don't know why they decided the best path would be to just go straight through this, but I wanted them to go to Beetlejuice to... to get back with the rest of the fleet. Sorry, guys, I'm a little sidetracked. All right, so let's do this in the order where people who... I think I'll try and get the order in which everybody showed up. Okay, so Jessie Quill, my very dear friend, was the first to host, and then I had technical problems, so she was the first I called, and is an all-around outstanding person. I hope you guys got a chance to watch her do her interviews at the GamerX convention. She did a really wonderful job of sort of engaging with the speakers. She was under a really tough tough set of restrictions, which was she had about 15 minutes to sort of, you know, interact with and sort of, you know, get to know and get along with with the presenter to try and get something, you know, memorable. Like, this is the thing, like, when you're interviewing, you want to have somebody kind of go out and be their best and sort of show what they're about. And it's not obvious, like, the good interviewers make it look easy. And so Jess did, I thought, a really wonderful job of kind of working against some rather tough deadlines and some tough working conditions, and just did them one after the other. I thought she did a really wonderful job of sort of interacting with her subjects, and I think, I mean, if I was interviewed in that, I would have no source whatsoever for complaint. I thought she did a really outstanding job, and hopefully they will invite her back. I can do machine modification points, or I think we're going to do missiles just for the same reason that we did the coil gun. Now, you know, okay, well, all well and good. She can interview people, but can she cast? And the answer is yes. I kind of like, one of the problems is that a lot of people that I know are very good casters, and they're good casters across a number of dimensions that I think I'm sort of are worth talking about. But Jessie Quill has been putting a lot of effort behind her casts where she's talking about mental health issues. She does have a background in psychology, and so one of the things that I've really enjoyed was when she will do a game like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and she will turn it into an opportunity to talk about some of the, some of the ideas behind the game. I mean, this is a game where they dedicated no small number of resources to, to getting it right, talking with neuroscientists about the sort of the experience of people who have the conditions Senua does in that game. And they did a great job of it. And more importantly, you know, I don't have any knowledge in that sphere. So when Jess does a cast like that, I'm able to sort of build on her knowledge and her experience, and I'm able to enjoy the game that much more. And even if there isn't overtly psychological themes inside of the game, she does a wonderful job at this no matter what game it is. I mean, she did a wonderful job with The Last of Us. There's really no shortage of games where I think she's really shown what she's made of in terms of her ability to talk about ideas and to engage with what the story the developers want to tell. She's really able to engage with those in a way that I find very admirable. And so you know, for my own part, she's one of my strongest recommendations I can make on Twitch. I really do think it's the highest compliment you can pay to somebody to say that they make a game more enjoyable having cast it, and I think that is Jess to a T. And so I encourage you guys to check her out if you haven't. And then hopefully one day I'll be able to get a Stellaris game in with her as well. I know Crusader Kings never really turned out the right way we wanted to, but on top of that, we have got Johnny Big Time. Johnny Big Time is a great caster. I'm going to hold off on his shout out for just a second so we can get some more gameplay in. We briefly detected some unusual energy readings emanating from this planet. It might have been a glitch in our systems, or it could be the sign of something more. Well, we'll let them investigate. Johnny Big Time has been going through some changes in life. He is becoming a woman. No. Johnny Big Time has taken up a new job. He'll be starting it rather shortly. He's got friends who are getting married. Maybe he's getting married behind the scenes, and we just don't know about it. But he's a man of many talents. It is easy to see why he is in demand, because he has got an absolutely fantastic personality. I said we were going to get gameplay, and I didn't unpause. Fantastic personality. Every ounce of it is apparent on the cast. He is just phenomenal at entertaining. He's, again, another sort of you must see this guy level recommendation, in my view. He's got a great attitude. He is a lot of fun to watch. He seems to just have the magic touch. He just seems to know what makes a cast interesting. And, he has been doing a lot of sort of series-based playthroughs. So he's been going on, like he went through all of the Dragon Age games. He's gone through, he went through all of BioShock. And I mean, again, just a really clever guy in terms of just being able to come up with some great one-liners in the heat of the moment. I really do wish I had a wit like Johnny's. But just overall, again, he's just a force to be reckoned with. It's so much fun to be hanging out in his cast, and I really encourage you guys to check out his cast as well, especially if you guys like a little more action-oriented games, which he tends to be focused on. So, magnetic reversal. The magnetic field of Ericus 4. And by the way, it was Kaya LB. Thank you very much for that host. Sorry, I am a little scatterbrained. The magnetic field around Ericus 4 experienced a complete reversal while it was being observed by the ISS Vendica. This rare event has interchanged the positions of the planet's magnetic poles. Fortunately, it was all recorded by the sensors of our ship, providing our scientists with a lot of valuable data. Intriguing. And 150 physics research gained. So it turns out that this redeeming quality that I had of incorporating this race into my empire has turned into a white elephant. Now, there are signs of activity by an ancient precursor civilization on this inhospitable rock. We will research it. So obviously over time this is getting better. We had 6 planets sort of on the verge of revolution. We're now down to 4. Oh, you know what? I think I screwed this up. Yeah, you don't get more. So we are assimilating these things over time, but obviously that's a big population. That is going to take some work. And while that's happening, there is always the danger of revolution. So what we've gone from is a concern about being invaded, and it just seems for whatever reason the AI has decided not to deliver on its threat, which I'm not going to complain about. And instead, what we now have to deal with is the potential that our empire is going to fall apart before we can really do anything about it. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I can really do. I'm going to get to my fleet, my naval capacity again. I'm going to start upgrading my spaceports, and then I'm going to start building some cruisers as a bit of a backbone for the fleet. Ericus 6 was home to a small Vultum outpost where they traded with several neighboring civilizations. At some point, the trade post appears to have been converted into a religious mission, where the Vultum attempted to convert visiting alien merchants to their philosophy. Trade ceased shortly afterward, and the planet was eventually abandoned. Okay, so I think this is... yes. Do I have a level 5 scientist? I do not. Oh, hang on, that's what the big star means. Okay, nope. Stop!
Construction complete.
Alright, let's change my... so we've got some species here. We're doing aggressive oh, hang on, we haven't...
System survey complete.
I should consider changing that policy. Okay. Native Enlightenment.
Construction complete.
Actually, let's just double check that. Okay, so what happens if I enlighten them? It's going to cost me 5 energy and 5 social. But of course, then the flip side is that I get to sort of incorporate them into... yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to wait for like gene tailoring, and then we'll infiltrate them. So no enlightenment. Okay. I'm still looking for more energy opportunities when I can find it. Obviously, we are a little constrained by virtue of the fact that they're all within sectors. But I sort of need to get my civilization back in the black. Yeah, sorry, Johnny Big Time. It's a little bit of a half-assed shout out this time, but I'm trying to catch. I'm trying to basically just get back on top of this game. It's run away from me. All right, does this game still have Deathball battle tactics? Yes, it does, Captain Bear, but I would strongly encourage you to read Wiz's post on the Paradox forums. They are removing two of the hyperspace mechanics. And what will be taking its place, basically it's going to be all hyperlanes. And they're going to be adding sort of interstellar geography, and there's going to be a lot more about positioning and sort of the defensive structures that you build to sort of counteract the complaints about combat. I'm really looking forward to those improvements to the game. You know, fans of games being what they are, inevitably they're going to complain about everything. But I actually think that was a very intelligent decision that they made. I probably should have saved some of those resources for
Construction complete.
I want to keep building population on this planet. All right. So the unrest is starting to go away. Again, this is just as we're slowly incorporating, as we're slowly assimilating the creatures. The great news about this, of course, is that over time, we're going to be in good shape with this system. Then I need to make some decisions in terms of what do I think I can what do I think I can accomplish in terms of giving up some resources to these guys, or do I just tax the hell out of them? I think I am going to give up some resources because I need to. I basically need them to build build tech. I need them to take advantage of the fact that I've got better technology than them, and sort of let them live up to their promise. The other thing is I need to eventually start colonizing all of these planets in here, because these are going to be some fantastic opportunities for me to boost my my naval capacity. Hello, Queen of Hearts. Well, I mean, I kind of get where you're coming from on that, Captain Bear, but I think the biggest thing that I can say is that honestly, I don't think the combat is really all that different from the other Paradox games. Like, I hate to say that, but like Crusader Kings 2 especially, it's it's definitely I just sort of think that's kind of how combat has always sort of been in a Clausewitz engine style game. And obviously, like Europa Universalis, you probably have a few more variables that will cause you some difficulties in that. But I just think it's one of these things that's naturally going to come at the start of the game, and then over time, it will be developed and improved. And I think we're pretty much at that stage with Stellaris now. So. Archaeologists on Ericus 6 have salvaged a small Voltum digital pamphlet. It seems the missionaries on this outpost pass pamphlets like this to visiting merchants. Most of the data is corrupt, but there are several references to the Great Lie and the shackles of virtual reality. An interesting find. I am also actually quite tempted to colonize Gotara. I was on the fence about it for the longest time, but honestly, everybody's creeping in on the Alpha Refuge, and nobody seems to have paid the price for it, so I should get my place in the sun. Okay, the third machine fleet is not where it should be. Now, it'd be nice to merge them, but the problem is that I've got multiple hyperdrives, so doesn't work that way. So in this case, we will upgrade them to the latest designs. This is going to take a long time. This will happen if I forget to hit my other priorities. A number of individuals belonging to the pre-sapient native population on Esenth Prime somehow got into a secure compound on the outskirts of a colony. They were chased off within hours, but not before severely damaging several interstellar uplinks dedicated to currency transfers. Hello, the Eyes of Sin. We fear several hundred credits may have been lost in the ether. Unfortunate, especially because I need those energy credits. We lost 300. Another shout out coming in, guys. We have got the lovely Eyes of Sin, who I will actually give a small comment. Eyes of Sin is going to be doing a series of streams dedicated to getting her computer upgraded. She has been working with a 10-year-old computer. I have a lot of sympathy for this, by the way, because I had a very similar rig for a long time. It was one of the reasons why I cast on the on the Mac laptop for the longest time. So she's going to be doing, actually, she put out a call on Twitter to, kind of get some recommendations of old style games that she could stream, sort of with a mind to fundraising towards her new PC. I think it's a wonderful cause, because if you guys go and watch her channel, you will see that she also has a fun perspective. She's got a really, first of all, a very soothing voice. And I think one thing that's really great about her cast is that she is an artist. And even if she is just playing a game, she has this way of describing things which is very unique and, in my case, very complimentary. And she's just a really nice person. I got to kind of get to know her from her modding a sort of a co-cast that I did with Jessie Quill. Jessie Quill has had the pleasure of meeting her and had only nice things to say. And of course, as nobody will be surprised, Eyes of Sin had some very nice things to say about Jessie Quill as well. And overall, I've got another friend on Twitch who I'm very happy to know and I can very enthusiastically recommend. So, just like I have kind of individual recommendations for everyone. So, I mean, Johnny Big Time is full of kinetic energy, and he is, he just has this really great wit to his casts that just can't be, it really can't be duplicated. We've got Jessie Quill, who has got this this very deep understanding of how people work. And this comes down to her community as well as the characters of the game. And likewise with Sin, you've got a very unique perspective. You've got almost a poetic way of playing games. And she's playing some things that I really enjoyed playing on tablets and that. I honestly could not imagine playing a tablet-style game on this cast. And yet Sin does it in a way that makes it seem very easy. So again, these are all different people who, for different reasons, I can give you very strong recommendations for. But I'll ask you to go above and beyond, which is that the Eyes of Sin is going to be looking towards sort of improving her streaming setup. And so if you guys have a little bit of money that you can toss towards that, I mean, obviously, if you want to wait and see if your money will be well spent, I don't blame you for not just going in and going sight unseen. But I know we definitely, I was going to say there's no shortage of casters on this platform, but there is a shortage of talent. And so I can remember in my own case, you guys enabled me to build a better streaming PC, and that allowed me to do things like Stellaris and allow me to do these other things here. And so it would be nice if I can pay it forward and encourage you guys, if you'd like to see more good content, this is something that a member of this community has been doing. And I will actually take a quick minute as well, because I will say one big person who was involved in getting me to that financial goal of the broadcast was actually Jessie Quill. She donated a lot to the cast, both at the time that I was building the computer, but afterwards as well. And so this is an opportunity. What I should, of course, do is reciprocate by sending you all her way, but I don't know what her current fundraising operation is. But I owe a very great debt to Jess for the cast being the way that it is. And that's, I think that's one way that I can sort of pay that forward, is to let you guys know when people are doing an initiative and something that I think we can help with. All right, so we've got one more level of our Unity, so we're going to finish out the prosperity tree. This will decrease our building upkeep by 10%, which is, of course, very welcome because we need all the energy we can get. So, and, of course, we get another Ascension perk. So for getting the entire prosperity tree, the mineral cost of consumer goods is decreased by 20%. That's one of the reasons why you also saw my minerals go up. And what we will do now is pick, so we can increase our research speed, tempting. Mastery of nature, decreased by 50%, interesting. I can increase the core sector systems. I don't think I want to do that because I'm resource constrained. And subject integration, influence cost, negative 50. That's a tempting one, but honestly, out of all of these options here, I think technological ascendancy is the most applicable to my current situation. So that one was not necessarily that I always go for technological ascendancy so much as based on all of my based on all the options that I had available to me at that moment, technological ascendancy made the most sense. I'm not going to be incorporating anybody anytime soon, which means I'm going to be able to build up my influence. Whereas I do have some technological gaps with some neighbors that are hostile to me, and so I'd like to try and close that as quickly as I can. Now I have a bit of a dilemma with my construction ships because I've sort of filled the galaxy with all of my mining operations and such. And there's no more energy for me to get. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to spend it on upgrades and sectors because those sectors are going to have to bear the cost. I'm actually going to upgrade this. I'm curious if it will get the wormhole technology.
Construction complete. Technological acquisition successful.
All right. There's our fusion missiles. So it turns out we didn't really need to worry about those, but sorry guys. Snapchat's working again, I found out. Okay, we can upgrade our kinetic weapon damage. I would prefer to upgrade the energy weapon damage, and it's also fairly low cost, and it's lined up with the engineering priority of this guy, so we're good there. Construction ship doesn't know what to do. I guess we'll upgrade it.
Construction complete.
I mean, I could purge it.
Technological acquisition successful.
Okay, new naval capacity, which is generally good for me, but not at the moment. I think I am going to try uplifting the species if I can. So I can do xenobiology. Let's just take a quick look at my tile blockers and see. Okay, so lots of noxious swamps. Thank you very much for saying so, Yorkshire Bastard, although I am sorry that you're not feeling 100%. Wrong button. Okay, so there's really only one planet that's affected by the other tile blockers, so we're gonna knock down the noxious swamps. Actually, one thing I'd love to do, and I'll encourage you, you guys can do this now if you'd like. It's always, I always feel like this is a bit of a cop-out for me, but it is, I think, sort of interesting, because I always, like, I do try my best to be original in my shout-outs and, you know, speak from the heart, or the loins in the case of Jesse Quill shout-outs. But I try to do my best to articulate why I watch a given caster. But I also know that to a certain extent, you know, my opinion only goes so far. There are other reasons that people watch a given caster. So especially if I've given you a shout out, if you would like to have the opportunity to sort of beat me on my home turf, I would love to hear, you know, anybody who I've shouted out or somebody who, you know, you watch who's in the cast right now. I'd love it if you guys can, you know, maybe just back it up. Say what are some of the things there's some people in the cast who, if you like their stuff, I would love it if you guys would maybe share some of the things that you find special about their casts and what's worthwhile. Initial analysis of the asteroid's composition points towards a potentially interesting find.
Construction complete.
So the good news is I'm not losing too much sleep over this Cold War. You like Jessie Cole's cast because she beats you if you don't. I mean, she's been working out, but you've also been working out alongside her, so. She isn't in, like, hitting range right now, is she, Jeff? So, Jesse Quill, I have a question for you then. Do you know who originated the term feminazi? It appears the asteroid XXN Y71 and the surrounding debris originate from a former planet. Deep within the center of the asteroid, we can find traces of extremely valuable minerals. There are also hints of bacterial life that has now died in the vacuum of space. This shows us that the celestial body once bore the promise of life. Amazing. Then shame on you! I'm going to do something really stupid and build a oh, maybe I won't. I was going to build a colony ship, but I guess the cost is scaling. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to upgrade this other fleet before. Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to sit and wait for the fleet to finish upgrading. Hello, Sungif. Sorry, Sunnif. I'm bad at names. Welcome. Great to see you. So you'll notice that the sort of the timing is going down on this. One thing I am a little tempted to do, so I think my my range is a little short for it. But I'm thinking of building like a warp gate here and doing sort of a quick blitz to take this planet and then go for the quick victory if this thing hits 0. You appreciate System Chalk's cast because he's an incredibly interesting mix of great gameplay, no matter what genre, and real-world explanations and example. It feels like a friendly, chill seminar. Now, Jess, do you think that's still the case? Because I'll be honest. I mean, again, this is going to make me sound super insecure, but guess what? I am. Like, I feel like I've lost that. I sort of feel like I don't have the same kind of command of the games and the topics like I used to. I may be totally off base in thinking that, but I sort of, I don't know, for the longest time I've sort of been under the illusion that I've lost my mojo. Eyes of Sin says, I love saying kind words about other folks. For example, Mr. Johnny Big Time has a grounded, warm sense of humor and a lovely way of uttering a piece of commentary about any given situation that simultaneously makes you laugh and gives you a bit of a surreal moment of, whoa, he's right, that's fucking hilarious, but also a really good point. That is actually a better shout out than I've ever given for Johnny Big Time. Oh, see, I thought you said, it was like, I do think that's the case. It was like, oh yeah, so you think that I've lost my ability too. It's like, then I'm not crazy. I know what you're saying now. It's because I play Clicker Heroes instead of reading news and playing strategy games. By chance we stumbled upon a faint alien signal. During the survey of the planet, the source appears to be a small object in orbit. The signal contains no message. It could it be a distress transponder? I have a feeling that's going to be pirates. Following a long period of growing support for the hierarchical union, the Kroll Commonwealth has fully embraced this faction, adopting their core values and policies. As a result of bringing this faction into their government, they have become more outwardly authoritarian. Thank you kindly, Sungif. So one of the big reasons why I wanted to do that that integration of the two fleets was to be able to sort of take advantage of the wormhole technology across everyone. All right, migration treaty that I don't need to worry about too much. Not the smartest thing for me to do this right now, but I might as well. I'll get a few extra energy credits and a chance to clear out. There could be an energy resource there that I don't see.
Construction complete.
And one of the reasons why I'm building these mining stations here is because I don't need to pay the upkeep costs for them. So I can improve my growth speed, which is useless for me right now. Ship upgrade cost is going to come and nail me in a minute, so that's my most important upgrade. Jesse Will says, you enjoy the Eyes of Sin 92's cast because it's enjoyable to hear her explain how she sees her synesthesia because you've never met someone who has it, let alone talk in such a nice way about it. Lovely voice, calm demeanor, raising confidence are great to watch too. I agree completely, Jess. And Johnny Big Time has been a favorite for similar reasons Sin brought up. He's hilarious in his quips, and many times when he hits a topic on the head from behind, it takes a moment to realize the bigger joke was in the making. Yes. Johnny has a lot of really good traits. He's definitely one of these casters where I'm sort of like, I hate the compliment, oh, you should have like way more viewers than you do. Because it implies that like your cast is not in a good position. But I really do think Johnny is one of the casters who it's like I'm just sort of waiting for that one host that comes to him and he just explodes into like one of these huge casters. All right, a small squadron of ancient combat drones appear to have been abandoned in orbit of Nemazi 6 after some long-forgotten battle. As active sensors on the ISS Zono sweep over them, the drones power up and enter attack mode. And I don't think I can... Yeah, I can... 8 days.
Executing evasion protocol.
Get out of there, my friend. You can do it. Saved. I think we'll get a quick upgrade in for these guys. Again, just plugging away at getting my destroyers out. If I haven't been invaded yet, I'm going to assume that I can take my time on this combat. Which means this is, for something called the last stand of the Techarus, this is a pretty lame stream. Incidentally, for anybody who might be new to Stellaris, I know the game did just have a sale. Did anybody have any questions about how we got here, or just generally what the game is like?
Construction complete. Construction complete. Ship augmentations completed. Construction complete.
Okay, back to Auto Explore, upgrade. I'm going to get him to build mining where I can. Second machine fleet has destroyed a pirate station in the Hosant system. We've recovered its strong room module, 80 minerals, 50 energy, so it wasn't worth sending the fleet out for it. But it did clear up a... kind of a zone for me, so... Did I lose anything? One Corvette. I'm not going to cry too much about that. I'll build a new one. There we go. 100% upgrade. We'll build another destroyer as well. Oh yeah, I need to zap these guys too. I mean, that's a pretty good planet for me to take, so... I'll wait for the other destroyer. I think I'll just send them off. Hopefully they won't die to the drones. So I'm reasonably happy that I didn't have like a revolution on my hands once I once I incorporated the species.
Construction complete.
It's the one planet that doesn't have.
Construction complete.
I think I am going to start taxing them a bit. I mean, they're in a low state of development, but I don't think they're in the like. It's not a charity case. Like we definitely need to balance the books here. So, all right, that's got hostiles.
System survey complete.
Okay.
Technical acquisition successful.
Urantic crystals have a rare reflective properties that enhance the effectiveness of energy weapons. Good news for me if I can find them. I can build a defense station, which is tempting because I think my sectors will wind up building that on their own. I can build new engineering facilities or do deep core mining. I think I am going to do deep space stations on the chance that my governors get a bright idea. These guys are going to go and take care of the drones. And I think I'm going to proceed as if we're not being invaded. So I will build one more destroyer. And then we're going to start balancing the books. Well, I might as well start balancing the books now. I've got to wait for the month to turn over. I mean, they're not doing great energy-wise. Maybe I should lighten up on the taxes there. Mineral-wise, what's my...
Construction complete.
Yeah. I think that's a fairly reasonable division. I think I'm going to up the energy taxes on these guys a little bit. It's like the Nizotrom system. Actually, I'm surprised that there's so few... I mean, it's my fault. I'm surprised that there are so few planets inside of this system. Maybe... I mean, we can clear it all out for sure. I'm going to add that immediately to the sector. I hate doing this, but oh god, what? Oh, actually, this is probably this is the fight I wanted to have happen. Is the startup still extremely slow? It sort of depends on the. I think it depends on the particular start that you have. There's a few things that you can do in the custom settings to sort of slow it, or to slow it down or speed it up.
Construction complete.
But I would say that overall the game ramps up. Like I'd say it's probably reasonably fair to say that the game I'm playing right now is quite different from what what the opening was when Synthetic Dawn first came out. I mean, I guess the biggest one for me is I sort of perceive the pacing of Stellaris as I think it's very much about learning the game. So I don't perceive it as particularly slow in my own case. But maybe I'm just biased. Next step, I'm actually going to start clearing off some tiles and just generally kind of going back to improving my planets. I mean, again, can I get invaded? Yeah. Do I need to worry about my fleet? Yeah. But I mean, I'm also going to, like, if I actually bother to develop my worlds, I'm going to have opportunities to improve. I'm going to have opportunities to just like, I'm going to be able to just build more ships and build them faster. In this case here, I'm going to be abandoning this like all hands on deck kind of barbarians at the gates case. If they were going to invade, Yorkshire bastard.
For lack of a better word.
Technological acquisition successful.
You're awesome, dude. Almost
System
as good as
survey
Jesse
complete.
Ha.
Thank you very much for that donation, Yorkshire bastard. I really appreciate it. Actually, I'm gonna cancel the well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Oh yeah, and we got refit standards, so that's good. I really appreciate that. I have some things that I've been working on. I'm debating on putting some of the casting money towards another side project that I've been doing. So I appreciate that. That was what I was talking about when I was asking people what are some like sub perks that you'd like to get. So I think I'll probably put it towards that. Thank you, Yorkshire bastard. This is an important thing too. I don't like saying this for my own case. I'm just going to take a second here. Standardizing workflows for upgrading and retrofitting ship components can lead to massive efficiency gains. Okay, field repairs to decrease army upkeep. I don't think it's a very large part of my maintenance though. Possibly tile blocker would be okay. I think I need to upgrade my my leader pool. My energy has gone down because I sent out that colony ship. It's possible I have a structural deficit as far as energy credits are concerned. So I should probably go. I should go pretty hard on these energy upgrades.
Ship fragments dissected. Anomalous surface variable detected.
The surface of this asteroid is littered with metallic debris. Most of it appears to originate from starships of many different designs.
Hostile fleet assets detected.
Aha! All right, so now the fun begins. The Tarkilvu Navy cluster from the Pythok Theocracy has been detected on a direct course towards the Betelgeuse system. So we can meet them. The surface of the asteroid is littered with metallic debris. Most of it appears to originate from starships. Oh yeah, we already read that. And they're at 7K, so we have a slight advantage. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna meet here. I want everybody to meet there. Where are these guys? Oh, okay. They're all as one. So once they're combined, we might be able to get a pretty big scalp on this. Catch is they're probably going to take out my... Please unite. Okay, great. So we want to rush and get to... We want to get to this planet as soon as possible because these guys are going to cause us some pretty big hurt. We've got 9K backing these up.
Hostile fleet assets detected.
Oh god. Okay, this is their army, so we're in fairly good shape there.
Construction complete.
It's not obvious to me that I want to throw the destroyers in right away.
Construction complete.
Well, you know what? I should send them when I can.
Construction complete.
The longer they wait, the better for us.
Construction complete.
20 days. Yeah, so this is even the odds a little bit. I'm not crazy about that. But the good news is that they've divided the fleet up here. So if I can smack them in the ass, I'm going to... well, in terms of responding, it's just... I'm not quite sure what you mean by perspective on Mingo Duck. The asteroid was evidently used as a junkyard by someone at some point in the distant past. All manner of discarded machinery and metallic refuse has been deposited inside the asteroid's weak gravity well, being slowly pulled into the jumble of debris that now covers the surface. There is nothing of particular value to be found here, but a lot of metal could be salvaged by a mining station. Okay, so I probably shouldn't put the Empire on hold while we wait for the big fight, so... This seems to be a bit of a make or break kind of a fight. There's every reason for us to come out on top on this. And the real question is, do I want to go? I think what I am going to do is I'm going to head towards my my spaceport here, because like the idea here is that there's 824 protecting this transport fleet. What's going to be happening here, though, is I'm going to be augmenting this 9.1 fleet with the 1.9. So this is going to take some pretty heavy damage at the start. I'm going to hold these guys back a bit so that they can join the battle. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to throw these guys in, and we're going to try... the best scenario is if the station lives. Hello, MC. We've got a big battle against a beautiful star, so we're going to watch the fireworks. Also, we're going to take a minute. So, bunch of coil guns. They seem to be reasonably well prepared for us. They do have medium shields, but at this point, we're just going to have to watch it all happen. Ah, damn it. So we did lose the port. But the good news is that we've pretty much savaged their... what the hell are they fighting us with? Oh, they ran away.
Anomalous surface variable detected.
Okay, so we need to build up the spaceport again. I beat the story mode of Wolfenstein 2 just now. Honestly, don't know if it's a game that I would like or not. I loved the first one. I really want to know what happened to that other fleet of theirs. What I should be doing is I should be taking this opportunity to... okay, so I lost one destroyer. Wait a minute. They seriously didn't lose anything? That can't be right. So I really should be rebuilding these my fleets entirely around armor. Okay, cool. So we lost 5 destroyers and a... Okay. I'll be honest, I was hoping that we could do more damage to them than we wound up doing. But we definitely got the upper hand on that, so... And for some reason, yeah, that score has to be going up. Really depends on what your tolerance for over-the-top campy action is. I mean, knowing that I really enjoyed the first one, do you have any... Does that change your thoughts in this regard? I was really hoping that that would be more decisive than it was. I'm going to wait for a construction ship to open up. Well, this is the first one that's available. We're going to go to Bellatrix, and we're going to open a warp gate. You'll update like a Bayesian. You now know that you believe I would like the new one. So I'm assuming this cost that I'm paying is for the new colony.
Technological acquisition successful.
Okay, so we've got new shields. It's a big question. I think the new power plant is the obvious case because I'm still dealing with my debts. Back to Marfak. Obviously, we'll build a pop here. I do kind of want to continue make sure that you have people dedicated to acquiring resources. In this case, power plant is fine. Honestly, you was in a Bayes class while you're working. You had to drop. That's some hard stuff. I mean, I don't know the Bayesian stuff. I know comes from my monetary theory classes. Like they did a lot of like just recursive stuff, lots of like Tom Sargent's book wasn't like assigned but highly recommended sort of a deal. I mean, the stuff I had to do was not the hardest that I've ever encountered, but it's definitely a very different way of thinking. While approaching Barrow 1, the ISS Vendeka suddenly received a glancing hit by several passing mass driver rounds. The projectiles were billions of years old, and based on their trajectory, they appear to be stray rounds fired from a neighboring galaxy. After missing their intended target, they continued their journey for untold millennia until today. The rounds that were recovered are of an advanced design despite their incredible age. So we gained 150 engineering. The idea here, now that I actually know that I have a sort of a military advantage over these guys, I am going to... This is why I'm building my my warp gate here. I want to try and get a surprise hit on Dondonam.
System survey complete.
I also want to kind of upgrade everything to be... what do we have? 42 destroyers, 100 core. I mean, we're almost at sort of an equilibrium between the two. I also need to upgrade that.
Construction complete. Technological acquisition successful.
Okay, new leaders. I can boost my core systems, which is kind of tempting. Can decrease my... I think I am going to go for the fleet support. I really do want the ability to add more worlds to my empire. But at this point, I think the ability to lower my costs of maintaining the fleet to defend my worlds is too tempting.
Construction complete.
At some point, I also need to deal with the fact that I'm bleeding energy. But the next thing... So I do have a dilemma in trying to decide whether or not I want to sort of custom so like here's something that I can do to give myself an edge. So I can say, okay, scrap that. Can I afford to get rid of, what's my power at, plus 30? All right, so that's maybe a little much. But like, boom, like, have fun. You know, I don't care at all what your, maybe we'll hit like autocomplete or something like that. You know, this is like, okay, I see your, you know, your focus on I see your focus on sort of kinetic weapons, and I'm now going to build a fleet designed to, to counter that. The problem is that that's changing my entire, that's changing like all of my fleets to do that. Actually, what I don't understand, why aren't they just using UV lasers? So it's 164 to make these, and their damage is 734, 737. I mean, it's variety. I'm not going to complain about that, but yeah, in case you haven't noticed, like one thing that I sort of fail at in this game is that I haven't, why is it a carrier? Or maybe they just call it that. But yeah, the idea here is one efficiency I could get would be to stop letting the AI take over the construction of my fleets, and to make something a little more custom. But I don't normally put a lot of time into developing stuff like that. I normally let the game take care of it, probably to my detriment. But we did win the last fight, so. And Lady Dow, how are you doing, my friend? Long time no see, at least in terms of my cast. I know I've gotten a chance to see you around. I hope you are well. Are you still casting? I feel like it's been a while since I've seen one of your casts. I think I'm going to have to cool it with the colonization for the next little while, which is a shame because I really wanted to colonize Hizzle. But I need to, I really need to get, I need to get my money under control. Yes, I'm very happy that you got me streaming. Although it makes me feel like, I'm doing something I shouldn't. You did a very brief cast last night. Some Spec Ops The Line. Nice. Have you played through the single-player game yet? I know you said you were doing it with your friends, so I know they have a co-op mode. I've played that with the lovely Miss Jessie Quill. But I'm curious if you have played the original game and if you have any opinions on the story. How is our colonization going? Or our assimilation, rather.
Anomalous surface variable detected.
A large impact crater has been discovered that does not seem to be a natural occurrence. All right. So it looks like this other species is entirely subjugated. Yep, they're integrated. So we can try and purge these things, or we can surely you possess the processing power to understand that this war will not end favorably for your kind. That's a tough call. So I'm gonna close this for now because I'm close to taking out my I'm curious, did somebody else declare war on them? No. So what I'm thinking of here is if I can build the warp gate, right? That's going to be done soon. If I can get, again, that surprise hit in, what I need to do... See, their relative navy strengths are... You know what? It is not worth it for me to continue... I'd like to enforce my demands, but it is better for me to... It's better for me to load everything up and remove the threat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a really rapid expansion program. So I'm going to aggressively grab one more planet. This is going to hurt a lot energy-wise. And actually, let's take this from... So the idea here is I'm going to take Hizzle, so that's going to close off sort of the remaining, so this remaining part here. And what is going to be like, this is going to give me access to sort of these colonies with their energy here. Basically, I'm going to sort of take these opportunities to balance my books again, and then I'm going to be focusing on just sort of, again, just building up my empire and being able to sort of enforce my... Actually, you know what? I hate to do this, but I also want... Oh, I need more money. So basically, I want to push out those borders as much as I can. Oh man, I really could have. I could have taken him down. I didn't think they were so close. Anyways, so the idea here is I'm going to take these next few turns. I'm basically going to draw down on my surplus on energy credits. And the name of the game for the next little while is just going to be, again, balancing the books, building up the infrastructure, and making myself sort of unassailable when it comes time for the next war. So like these guys are superior, but only because their technology is higher. So I'm going to start reinvesting in my my tech, for instance, and just generally to sort of put myself in a set of circumstances where I'm no longer sort of at the mercy of whether or not these my neighbors want to start a fight. I want to basically be able to take them out if they cause any trouble. And that's cool, Lady Dow. I would love to know what you think of that story once you complete it. I enjoy. I will admit I didn't. It wasn't a story where I was like. It's kind of like the Game of Thrones experience that everybody has, where like you watch it and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you haven't seen it yet? You gotta play it. You gotta play it to the end. Like this, you stop everything right now." Like I didn't think of it in those terms, but I thought it was a very well done story. If you've read Heart of Darkness, you'll know what the deal is. We've detected life signs coming from somewhere beneath the barren and lifeless surface of this planet. What manner of organism could possibly live here? Oop, and a new metal. Detailed surface scans of XC85-8 have identified a large impact crater containing the wreckage of several ancient starships of unknown design. The ships appear to be completely devoid of life support systems, leading us to suspect that they were either unusually large drones or controlled by some artificial intelligence. Interestingly, the hull of the ships was constructed out of living metal, an exceedingly rare inorganic material with many unique properties. This metal can be programmed to assume a certain shape or form, and will slowly regrow itself if damaged. Over a period of several millennia, the surviving metal from the wrecked ship was fused into a large, extremely dense deposit that could be potentially mined for centuries to come. Fascinating. Oh, and I don't know what I just clicked. Probably research. Sorry, guys, just had to deal with a message. Okay, now seems like a good time to take stock. So I'm going to continue to focus on these energy upgrades where I can. I'm not going to upgrade any of the other things because that's going to cost me energy. Um, and Leaseth, we've already got somebody being built. Okay, so after I build this guy, actually I might as well build the power plant. So after I build this guy, I'm going to have to save up for 255. I can upgrade this, and then I can build the Betharian stone power plant. That's going to be a big bonus for me, as well as building the neuroelectric amplifier. I am really tempted to just purge this guy. But that isn't really consistent with the story that I'm telling with this. We assimilate, but we don't exterminate. I could, of course, clear these tiles, but that's probably the most expensive energy that I will ever buy, so I don't feel good about that decision I just made, but I'm living with it. Okay, there's the upgrade. But yeah, we're gonna be hurting a lot for money for the next little while, because we're gonna have 3 colonies that are being built for the different areas. The good news is that that's temporary. So after about 2 years, this one's gonna go away. Like it's gonna sort of fold in and out, but I think we're going to be able to get through it. Some kind of burrowing silicon-based life form inhabits a vast network of tunnels beneath the barren surface of Bera 3. As best as we can tell, the creatures feed off rocks, and there is evidence to suggest that they possess a rudimentary form of intelligence. Their tunneling actions have shifted large amounts of valuable minerals to the surface. Intriguing. I'll take a quick look at seeing how my sectors are doing. The idea here is that I don't want to completely cut my sectors off at the knees. Can I upgrade it yet? Not really. Now I can. I don't want to cut them off at the knees in terms of their resources. I might even give up a little bit. Well, Nezatorum Prime, I think they have enough to keep them going. I did forget to assign a new leader when I got my bonus to the cap, so...
Construction complete. Construction complete.
So my growth colonies have...
Construction complete.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are all sort of doing okay. The ideal, of course, is that all these other, like these subplanets and things like that, they're all going to have sort of maxed out resources. So Betelgeuse, for instance, should have its spaceport upgraded. When Gotara is finished, we'll obviously build a spaceport for them. It's maybe less surprising that the Stratpor sector doesn't have as much development because we blew them up. But I think I've still given them enough in terms of mineral resources. I should just double check the sector settings. That I think they're uniform. Oh yes, everybody can build military stations. Oh wait, that's the defaults. So the night is dark and full of terrors. I am now allowing them to build military stations. Again, I don't have a lot of hope for Nisatrom Prime doing anything too special. They are sort of accumulating a little bit of a surplus, but I'm not going to do too much about it on its own. All right, construction ships. I'm focusing on construction ships sort of within sectors that I own for the most part because I don't want to incur too many costs individually. Of course, there's limits to that. They've got their own sort of ships now, so that doesn't necessarily scale too well. I'm just trying to think. What I'm probably going to do here is once Hizzle is colonized, I'm probably going to spin Ziobar, or maybe I don't want to do Ziobar. I knew that was going to... This is going to be a tricky one, because these guys are unquestionably stronger than me. So they want Gatara, yeah, they want my whole northern borders. There's obviously been a mistake somewhere in your coding. Allow us to amend it. So we're back to the same story. So first thing I'm going to do... How close are we to repairing? Reasonably close, but we're not going to be able to afford the upgrades. It really depends how fast these guys come in to attack us. They are going to have better power, though. I need to go to bed soon. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. I'm not too optimistic, though. I think that's entirely up to you, Mingo Duck. I know whenever I talk to you, you always told me to just not use the Sir, so you seem to prefer... it without the Sir, but it's certainly not my intention to tell you how you want to present yourself on Twitch. I think you should go with whatever appeals to you the most. I'm not sure if this is the right decision to put all this into upgrades right now, but I think probably if it comes right down to it, either we're going to survive this war or we're not. Oh, you know what? I forgot. So honestly, at this point, I don't think there's any advantage to holding back. So in this case, we're just going to go for like, I want, everything including mom and apple pie. So like I want Bazanak and Haben. And what else do I want? I think probably the way I would take this is sort of scoop around like that. So I'll... we also haven't had any eyes in there, so I don't know what we're up against technology-wise. So I don't think... Yeah, so 15 is too much for the next one, and then, we'll throw in a humiliate for free. So I don't actually think I'm going to get any of this. We're going to employ the same strategy. So again, it's worth remembering that we get a bonus to our firing rate when we... I can't believe that I missed this. This will help get me out of my deficits, assuming the bad guys don't come and obliterate me. So we get bonuses when we fight defensive battles in our home territory. So the name of the game here is to repair the second machine fleet, unite it with the first machine fleet, finish those destroyers, basically get myself up to the fleet cap. And the longer we can string out the war, and the more we can fight it on our territory with our defensive structures, the better off I am. Because if I can get these little marginal improvements in terms of war score, or if I can make the thing last forever, I'll be in a position to maybe not make some demands, but I can white piece it out. So thank you, the Isaacin. I also forgot to, I should get, so this is, we were talking a little bit about the post that Paradox put on for, oh, you know what, just keep those things coming. So we were talking about the changes that are going to be coming in terms of the warp drive. So hyperlanes personally were always sort of my favorite, and I wanted to sort of reach out a little bit and try something new, which is why I decided to go for wormholes. Turns out to be very effective in terms of just mobility, and but like. So you can see the problem that we run into and why this makes the combat a little frustrating to deal with, which is I know that they have more absolute fleet power than me. There's probably another empire there. Okay, so we've got defense stations, which means my guys are going to be working on that. Oh, I didn't know I didn't have this yet. I need to hurry the hell up. That's going to solve all my energy problems. So, like the problem that I have is like, this is basically just sitting here waiting for the bad guys to come. It's not necessarily the most fun in terms of like, of doing combat, right? I may or may not survive this. And, you know, the name of the game for me right now is to just try and overcome this technology gap and overcome this, this sort of, like it basically it's all about getting my fleet power up to something that can take on theirs, right? And again, it's a bit of a drag because like you kind of want to do more than just build ships in a game like this. So what they're going to be doing is you have only one sort of hyperspace transport option, which is the hyper lanes. So that already is going to create strategic opportunities. And the way that they're getting over some of the mobility problems that are created by that, if you've ever played a hyperlane only game, you know that you're sometimes screaming at the monitor, trying to get things, like, you know, just get these choke points and things like that. So the way that they're getting around it is they're adding some sliders that basically you'll have more sort of you'll have more connections to planets, or if you want, you know, if you like the, you know, the idea of choke points, you can have fewer. And what's going to happen is that a given system is going to have certain traits. So, you know, there's going to be certain star systems which eliminate your shields. And there'll be defensive platforms which you can build at key structures. And what it's going to be is that rather than just being, I'm going to take my big death stack and move it against your big death stack, it's going to be, how, you've put so much energy, effort into this type of technology. I'm now going to nullify it by going for, this territory, which I know you can't defend very well. And it creates lots of interesting opportunities here, right? Because you start playing the game knowing that, you can force engagement. Like if you go on the offensive, like I guess the biggest thing here is that the way that the game currently works is that if you have a big blob, you want to be as aggressive as possible. You want to just roll in, and you want to push your advantage, and you just want to bully everyone you possibly can. And if you are a species like I am, you are just cowering, hoping that, they don't cause you too much trouble. I think I'm going to do active countermeasures just so I can roll the dice a little bit sooner. So I don't have the money for it, so we'll build a pop here. So I don't know. To me, it's the sort of thing that I enjoy in games like this. Like if I have more opportunities through hard work and experience, Governor Sofont F22 has developed new skills. Good for them. Don't let your dreams be dreams. I think the biggest opportunity for me is that it's an opportunity to think about your overall position in the game. It's no longer just a rush to try and get as many ships as you can and sort of exploit somebody's, maybe their lack of understanding in terms of production. I mean, really what this game becomes at a certain point is just a race to, a race to build as many mining resources as you can. It's it's nice to sort of know that there's going to be something coming into the game where you can say, it's like, okay, I know I'm at a so for here, it's like, I know I'm at a disadvantage. Actually, okay, the best thing I can say is that everybody knows the story of the 300 Spartans, right? Those naked guys in capes back in ancient Greece. The big insight in that one, right? We'll face them in the hot gates where their numbers will count for nothing, right? Classic story. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows, brave Spartans, go good guys, show those Persians, who really can fight. And the way that this game works right now is you don't get to tell a story like that. Like it's, I was very good at economics. I was able to outproduce my enemy, and we buried them under a pile of steel is basically how combat works. And it's how it'll always work, basically. So to basically have something implemented in the game which allows you to, have let's say a little bit of nuance. It allows you to sort of employ strategies. It allows you to have these like one of the things about these games, I don't do this personally, but I know it's a big part of the culture of playing games like this, is the after action report. So basically where you sort of role play as your species and you tell the story about how you did, certain things in the game. And like right now, you can talk about the brilliant strategist. And, sure, there's every once in a while you'll pull off like a 1 in a million victory or something like that. But like generally it's because there's something like what I've got right now, which is the upgrade that allows me to, to get a strategic or a fire bonus when defending on my home territory. Now that there is something built into the game that allows you to, to kind of say, all right, here's you know, here are some ways that we're going to give you some more things to think about when war comes in. To me, again, just in terms of whether you like this game for the story stuff like I do, or whether you like the game because you want to play it as a strategy game and because you think there are opportunities to sort of explore that space of, you know, here are some, you know, here are just some moments, right? Here are some different scenarios that you can find yourself in, you know, have fun, see how good you are at surviving. I think those kinds of changes, like they work and they should appeal to everyone. So I don't know. I'm for it. What DLC do I have active? Everything, including Plantoids. Random guy exists. You love how it's often a love or hate response. Yay, mechanical friends, you're welcome here. Or abominations die. Yeah, everybody hates me because I'm the assimilators. There are signs of activity by an ancient precursor civilization on this inhospitable rock. I think we've already explored all the... Yes, we have. Okay, science ship. We finished researching the scrap. I don't think I'm ready to upgrade him. I don't really need to do that. It's also debatable. I probably shouldn't have this all at Beetlejuice. I think I'll move everything back to 0 when the repairs are done. Several recruits from our ground forces recently made a halo insertion into the surface of Mitten 2A as part of a survival training exercise. When the recruits were picked up again after 2 months, one of them reported several findings indicating that an ancient precursor civilization had a presence on this world long ago. We should investigate this. And where are you? Okay, he's already doing it. Unity time. Okay. I'm thinking probably we need to do something military-wise. This would have been my preference because obviously we're going to be on a big... we're going to be on a big colonization kick. Domination's more about subjugation, which we're... Like, everybody's just too big for me. Random guy exists. Thank you very much for the follow. I will warn you, we're probably going to be wrapping up pretty soon tonight. I got a little bit of a later start, but I will do my best to keep things going for as long as you're here. I mean, one indirect way that I can... So the problem I'm running into right now is not so much my fleet size as it is their power. I've fed a technology gap for too long, so they're able to do more against me. So there's an argument that if I go down a path that will allow me to close down that gap. But the problem with that is that I still need the resources to upgrade all the ships to get all the cool toys that I build. Whereas Supremacy is just directly augmenting, even if I have weaker ships, it's still augmenting my my forces. And of course I get the bonus to border range right away. Okay, so ship build speed and naval capacity increased. Seed planet demand I don't need right away. Army damage increased. Unity output per rival. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely something built to my current situation. I completely forgot that this doesn't directly give you bonuses to attack. Unless, I think it's if you, yeah, if you do the whole thing, and we'll either be... we're either going to win before we max this out, or we're going to... are we going to be clobbered? But Supremacy is the obvious choice here. And I believe it doesn't actually expand the borders until you unpause. So while I am paused, though, I'm just going to take another moment to reflect. So what do we have in the queue right now? So 167 will be 169 when it's done, 171. So we've maxed out there. We need to make sure that our spaceports are where they need to be. Um, cool. And eventually I'll find out what to do with my energy. Okay. Oh, and I'll zoom out so you can see my borders grow. Haha! Viagra's paying off. It's not a bad planet to get, actually. I'm probably not going to... Well, I'll add it to the sector, but I would not want to invest too much into... at least until we... until we actually sort out this war, I would not want to invest a whole lot into infrastructure in these sectors. So as far as neighbors are concerned, the Pithok, if they were to come after... Okay, so we actually closed the gap with the Pithok. These guys are probably still... Yeah, so it's equal... Oh, this is great. So this is going to save me money-wise. Cruiser assembly yards is really tempting because I'm going to be cranking out as many ships as I can. Oh, but living metal is... Oh, it's too long, though. Yeah, better railguns. Have a good night, Mingo Duck. Okay, so currently we're at a deficit of 26, but where are we? And I need to clear out one of these areas for... Okay, repairs are done. Okay, so we'll combine the guys at Beetlejuice, and then we will move them to my capital. I mean, it'd be nice if I can upgrade the fleet designs. I honestly don't think that's in the cards. You never know. Voltum engineers at some point built a massive orbital complex near Neshmet 5 dedicated to computer research. Strangely, they seem to have ignored the normally popular field of artificial intelligence to focus exclusively on virtual realities and massive computer simulations. Most of the complex has been ruined by weapons fire and micrometeoroids, but what remains is in remarkable condition given the station's age.
Situation log adjusted.
So this pretty much, especially because my explorer... I mean, this is the nice thing about having a synthetic race. You can lose your leaders to sort of accidents, but it's somewhat rare. I think what I'm going to start doing is build science stations on in sectors, because they're the ones that have to pay for the maintenance. I mean, eventually I wind up paying for it because, of course, they pay me less in taxes, but probably not worth splitting that too much. But yeah, so the nice thing is you get a little more longevity for your scientists, which means when you start getting these, I used to find when I normally play the game, I always have difficulty researching these things in time because I lose my scientists before they become good enough, basically. But I've noticed the synthetic, I don't have that problem as much. Now, a great thing that's going to happen eventually is, I think Gotara is now a full-fledged colony. Yeah. So what is basically going to happen here? So Hizzle is how many months away? 22 months away. And I believe we colonized Bellatrix as well. No. So where the hell is the other one? Or did I only go for Hizzle? I feel like that's an oversight if I... I guess I did. Anyways, neither here nor there. I feel like I should tax these guys a bit more. These guys are already max tax. And they actually have a new planet, so there's an argument for not taxing them 100% anymore. This is still a fairly young colony, so I think I'm okay. Yeah, they've got room to grow. And I'm going to be adding more stuff to them relatively soon. I still don't know what the hell is going on with these guys. Like, I conquered them. They're obviously building more stuff. They're just kind of slow, like I am. I think we can definitely take a little energy from them, though. I'll keep them in... I think whenever they break 30, I'll maybe cut things down a little bit. Like, I think of our... Yeah, they're going to go to the teens, so... Yeah, you know what? They're building a bit of a surplus. I don't feel bad that I'm taking all their minerals now. To the victor goes the spoils. How many organics have you assimilated thus far? I only have my original species, and then these were the first guys that I assimilated. So I got a little unlucky that... so the Pithok theocracy expanded rather quickly, and then they declared war on me. And then the Yuva Zavini... they were an advanced start, and they're pretty aggressive. So I've sort of been living under this specter of some big, bad, like people who can stomp me. And we're dealing with the consequence now. So we basically, for the entire cast, we were sort of trying to keep these guys at a stalemate. I probably lost my nerve. I think I might have been able to add this planet to my domain. But basically, these guys sort of declared war not too long ago, and I mean they've got a bigger fleet, so like if it just comes down to it, they're just gonna steamroll over me. But if we can delay it long enough that I can sort of rearm, then I'll be in good shape. But yeah, we've assimilated one so far. Receiving a transmission from the independent space station of the Rigan Commerce Exchange. They appear to have successfully translated our language. Interesting. I speak on behalf of the Rigan Commerce Exchange. We have facilitated trade negotiations between interested parties on our starbase in the Markab system for more than 1,000 of your years. If you happen to process more minerals or energy than you need, we are more than willing to take it off your hands. You will be duly compensated, of course. Well met. So, normally I would be dumping all of my energy into minerals with these guys right now so I could upgrade my space stations and just generally finance a... Damn it. This is it. Holy smokes, we are not gonna survive this at all. All right, we're gonna deal with this next week. There is no possible way this is going to end well for me. Jesus. At least I get to see what they're made. Okay, so they are... Huh. So the fun one on... Oh, wait, no, because they have things to knock down shields. Yeah, I don't think there's any solution to this, to be honest. It's equal fleet capacity, but they just have... I think their weapons are just too good. Well, even then, they're not that much bigger. Yeah, they're all like level 1s and level 2s. I've got that. I just gotta. I don't think I got screwed over. I think I might have played. I think I might have played my opening rather poorly. But this was an advanced start that I got beside, and these guys expanded out pretty quickly. And I mean, I'm assimilators, so I'm not. I'm not. Like I don't have any friends, so like the normal balance of power that you would consider, like that's just not happening. I mean, the one thing, one argument is that if these guys are next door to a particularly powerful species, there might be an argument to me sort of like wearing down their, like there might be some logic to like wearing down their fleet and sort of hoping, oh, hang on. Beta Refuge is meant to be fully dedicated to habitation use, but capacity issues forced to shift and focus towards cryogenics during construction. Notice Beta Refuge is currently at capacity and not accepting additional. No, I just want you to come and help me. Yeah, I don't know. I could try a Hail Mary and just try to ding as much as I can off of their main fleet and hope that somebody else declares war on them, but I think that's optimistic. The other thing that I can try and do is like do a hit and run on Vira. Actually, this is an interesting strategy. So I'm curious if I'm able to build some warp gates and like just do some quick grabs on these planets here. Take advantage of the fact that I have the warp technology. What are these guys? Yeah, so these guys use hyperdrives. Okay, so we're gonna do this next week because I'm already overtime for this cast. But here's what we're gonna try and do. I'm gonna try and build some warp gates. I don't think I can access this right away. Yeah, we're just shy. Oh, we can make it. Okay. So, what we're going to try and do is we are going to, while we're building up the fleet, I might even just try and like I might try and like do the upgrades while all this is happening. I'm going to take my armies. Beetlejuice has got to get a move on. So yeah, the idea here is I'm going to try and abuse the fact that I have a fairly good hyperdrive technology to start bombarding their planet. So this is going to do one of two things. Either they're going to turn around and they're going to try and reply by chasing off my guys, or they're going to ignore it and I'm going to get a free planet. And if I can do that enough times, then it might be able to tip the scales. Because like otherwise I just brainlessly, like, so right now I have a 6,000 point deficit in terms of trying to take these guys on. Like that's just suicide. There's no way that I'm going to be able to survive that encounter. So what I can potentially try and do instead is say, you know, use the technology that I have to my advantage. Use my mobility to create some crisis situations and sort of hope that the AI tries to deal with the fact that its planet's being invaded. And then in this case, we just kind of try and run a little bit of a guerrilla war for the, for the time that it takes me to get things in the shape that I need them. I'm not very confident that it'll work, but I think it's the best hope that I have, because if not, we need only look at the demands, right? Like they're going to take Gotara, they're going to take Nizatrom, Beetlejuice, they're going to take my capital 0, and then Marfak is... Where is Marfak? Yeah, so, I mean, they're going to... Lisith is just going to be sitting there waiting for them to kind of come for round 2. They're going to take a massive bite. I mean, I can do a little bit of recovery in the sense there's so many planets to colonize here. But let's face it, like if they win the war once, they're just waiting for the treaty to cool down, and they're going to be coming back. So, anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. I am sorry to, go late but not have that much more gameplay as a result of that. I'm going to try and find somebody to host. I will say, if you guys are here just for Stellaris, I do this every Monday. It's actually always a Paradox game. It's not always just Stellaris, but they gave me a copy of Synthetic Dawn, so I'm obviously going to do right by them and broadcast the thing that they're putting on. We do normally host someone, and Kilgore Trout is currently playing Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall on the GOG channel. His surprisingly few people for a GOG cast for an Elder Scrolls game, so I would love it if you guys can come along for a quick raid. If you've not seen Kilgore Trout, he is a fantastic guy. The GOG.com channel is quite fun. I've been on there once. I did Alpha Centauri, and I guess I didn't impress anybody because I didn't get invited back. But they're good people there, and I definitely encourage you guys to hang out and especially see Kilgore Trout. He's a really great caster. So I'll probably hang out for a little bit. And if you guys are here for more Paradox, we'll see you Monday. If you are here for more of my stuff, I will be back Wednesday, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock sharp. I will not be late like tonight. And we'll be doing more XCOM. And then Friday, I may not be able to cast, but just check Twitter for that. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks a lot.